It's been a while since I've made a video. I know. I've got some in the works that are hopefully going to be pretty helpful to new collectors, as well as some ones that are kind of the same as I've been doing for a while, but I did take some time off as we've been doing a lot with Whatnot, and I needed some time to myself. But anyway, I have one today that I think is going to be beneficial to a lot of people who are buying coins online, because this quarter right here that is absolutely stunning, and when it was first dropped in my hand, I said, wow, that's very nice, is 100% fake. This 1936 San Francisco? Denver quarter is fake. It's in fact so good that the average collector probably wouldn't even catch that this is fake, because it's got luster bands and so much just genuinely decent detail on the coin that a lot of people would think this is a real coin. But there are a lot of things going on with this coin that we're going to talk about today, so that you can keep an eye out for stuff like this that's coming out of various countries that are just mass producing them and shipping them to the US. So I'm going to walk you through kind of what I experienced with getting these coins, so that you can kind of see my rationale on how I came to the conclusion they're fake. First of all, a 1936D in this kind of condition is worth a lot of money. That's when you get into conditional rarity, because yeah, the coin itself is pretty darn common, but when you get up into a range like this where you're talking about a 64, 65, with this one here the fields look like they're 66 or even better. I mean, it's like absolutely stellar. You're talking about a coin that is worth a lot. PCGS price guide on a 64 is $800, and an MS64. 65 is $1,100 price guide, and 66 is $1,450. So if this coin were real in this condition, that would be a huge windfall if someone was able to get it for a cheap price, and it would have a significant amount of conditional rarity. Well, the first thing I noticed when the guy brought them in is that there are 6 1936 Denver quarters in a BU condition. We're not talking just average low mint state. These things looked immaculate. 36D is a coin where that's not common to happen. To have one of them in that kind of range would be significantly rare. To have 2, crazy. To have 6 of them, just absolutely bonkers. Let's put it this way. The estimated survivability of this coin in MS65 or higher is 3,920 coins total. So why do I have 6 of them walk in the shop raw in a sandwich bag at the same time? When I started looking at them, I noticed, man, the luster actually does look like a real quarter. I wasn't thinking fake at first, because they got the luster really darn well. I don't know, honestly, how they did that, but it looks like a struck coin with luster. The first thing I noticed was I felt the rim. The rim felt really weird, and the edge of the coin as well. The reading and the rim just felt really, really weird. For a mint state quarter, that rim kind of weird, like weak feeling. It didn't feel like a mint state quarter. I felt a lot of them, and a lot of them have a reasonably sharp rim to them. Not crazy, but like you can feel the sharpness to them. And this thing is just feels like it's like folded over. And then I started feeling the reading, and it felt like weak, like gears that are stripped off. And started looking at it and realizing, wow, there are spots where the reading is almost non-existent. Now, if you know anything about the minting process, the reading happens when the coin is struck by the collar die that goes around the coin, and it fills in those readings on the collar die. And it has a lot of pressure going down on both sides of the coin as the hammer die comes down and pushes it against the anvil die. So that metal spreads out pretty darn well and fills in really well that collar die. And this is not filled in well for a Washington quarter. So that tells me that one of two things happened. Either somebody messed with this rim, or it was not made by the US Mint, because there's just no way that you would get that kind of strike, this kind of condition, and have that crappy of a rim. At that point, I was already skeptical and stood up to start walking towards the spectrometer so I could throw it in there and see what it was made of. But before I did, I grabbed my loop on the way, and I noticed that there is doubling on the date, which in some cases is fantastic, because there is a great double die obverse from 1936 Philadelphia that's worth a crazy amount of money in this condition. But it doesn't look like the 1936 double die. Also, this is not a Philadelphia minted coin. None of these are. They're all the same, 36D. And a quick check of Variety Vista told me there are no 1936 Denver double die obverses even known to exist. Not much else one that's so strong that it would be hard to miss, that surely someone would have found by now, and it would be strong enough it most likely would end up in the cherry picker's guide. And then right as I was getting to the spectrometer, I looped it one more time, and I saw a divot right there in the top of Washington's head. And that divot looked just kind of weird. It looked like something had just kind of hit it. And I thought, well, that's, maybe something hit it. And I looped it, but it looked like the other surfaces of the coin, meaning it looked like it was struck into the coin. But it didn't look like a struck through, like something was in between, like a piece of debris or something got in between the die and the coin when it was struck, because it has the same luster and the same matte finish look to it as the rest of the coin. So I decided to look at the next one. Same divot. And then I looked at the next one. Same divot, and the next one, and the next one, so on and so forth. All 6 of them have the exact same mark on it. And that is problematic, because a lot of people say, well, wait a minute, maybe something happened to the die. Maybe they dinged it, and it would cause that divot to be in the coin. But a ding or a hit to the die wouldn't cause a divot. It would cause something to be raised on the coin. Remember, this is a raised design, and so whatever is incused onto this coin had to be raised on the die to be struck into it. So, ding, 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 this had to have been something that little divot had to be on the die that made it. And guess what? In the way the U.S. Mint makes dies with the hubbing process, it's not possible to have something that is raised on the die like that out of the normal design of the coin. Anyway, that was my last tip, that it's definitely not right. So I dropped them in the spectrometer, hit the button, and lo and behold, copper nickel with a plating of silver. 100% fake. Definitely one that came from somewhere where they're mass producing fake coins, like China and other countries like that. And everybody says, why do you keep picking on China? Because a lot of the fake coins right now are coming from China. Who knows, maybe the tariffs will fix some of the fake imports in the midst of completely wrecking my retirement account. But I'm making this video so that you can see what's going on. You can see what to look for when you're buying coins. Now, on the internet, it can be hard to really see what you got. But this guy said he paid a little bit over spot price for these coins, and he thought it was just a stellar deal to get really nice 36D quarters just a little bit over spot. Now, melt value on these coins is a little bit under $6 right now. And you can get some really crappy fakes out there for those people who are just trying to get silver at a good deal, and oh my gosh, that one's under spot, and then they get a fake quarter. But this one's one that I'm sure they were going for that appeal of, this guy doesn't know what he has. He doesn't know what he's selling, obviously, because who would sell 36D quarters in mint state if they knew what they were? This is the deal of a lifetime. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the deal of a lifetime on most coins is probably too good to be true. There are good deals out there, and there are people who literally don't know what they have. But when it comes to something like this, I highly doubt that's just going to slip through somebody's fingers and they happen to just have a whole bunch of mint state 1936D quarters that they put on eBay for a ridiculously low price and don't ever bother to check to see what a mint state 1936D actually does. So when you're buying, you want to check things like the seller. Do they have good feedback and enough feedback that it looks like they actually do make legitimate good sales on potentially a consistent basis? It's really going to vary on the seller. If you looked at my eBay where I sell stuff for Gulf Coast Treasure Hunter, you're not going to see a huge number of sales or a whole bunch of feedback. I mean, it's in the hundreds, but it's not like thousands because I don't sell on there a whole bunch. I've gotten back into it, but it's not every day. It's not all the time. It's just kind of when I want to move some stuff, or maybe I've purchased some stuff to sell. But if you have somebody who it looks like that's really what they're trying to do and they don't have a lot of feedback, that can be dangerous. Or especially when you have somebody who maybe has like one or two feedback, a positive review, and they have some stuff that looks like it's got some value to it. It can It can be a risk when you purchase from sellers like that. But everybody starts somewhere, so I really hate to even say that, because there could be a really legitimate, solid seller out there who's got one feedback, and he's selling things at a good price and an honest person that are actually real items. And that whole mentality just throws him under the bus. So I don't know, but regardless, my point is solid feedback and consistent feedback and a quantity of feedback helps safeguard against a problem. Because not only do you have the chance that it's actually a real item you're purchasing to begin with, but you also have the fact that the seller most likely is going to do everything they can to make it right for you. You probably don't even have to file a claim. You just send them back a message and say, hey, we tested this on a spectrometer and it's fake. And if they have that much feedback, they're going to do everything in their power most likely to protect you as the buyer and to make it right for you before you even have to contact eBay probably. Also, it doesn't hurt to really take a close look at the pictures. If the pictures don't really show the coin, well, buy the coin, not the idea of what the coin might be. So if you can't see it, in my opinion, don't buy it. But if you see in the pictures that something doesn't look right, then you might be able to avoid buying something that's fake. And third, if you buy something like that where you think it might not be genuine, 100% take it to a dealer and say, hey, I just bought this. I'm questioning whether it's real or not. It just seemed like it was too good to be true. Maybe I got a great deal. And most dealers are going to be willing to take a look at it for you and let you know what they think. Or maybe use something really, really definitive like a spectrometer that's going to say, absolutely, that's not silver, that's fake. And finally, whenever you see fake listings that are obviously fake, 100% verifiably fake, make sure to report them. Make sure that you are telling eBay that these are fake items and they are fake listings. It's a problem right now. I'm not going to get into what has been reported, but I would highly recommend you watch Daniel Malone's videos about some issues he's had with reporting things to eBay. Here's a picture of the video he's posted. I would recommend you watch that. But nonetheless, we need to be reporting this kind of stuff. Now, you want to be careful. Don't just report everything you see that has a little bit of damage to it and might be fake. Stuff that's obviously a fake listing. There are plenty of things. Now, it could be, I didn't see the original picture, it could be they had a legitimate, genuine 36D in a high grade that they put as the picture for this coin, and you bought one in quantity. It's possible. It really is. But just be careful with that as well. Regardless, whatever you do, just make sure you're being careful, make sure you're reporting, and let's work together to try and help put a dent in this problem that continues to happen in the hobby of fake coins flooding the market and people getting outright scammed. And lastly, for the record, I did not buy these from the guy. I told him that he could keep them, or I'm more than happy to keep them myself in the shop in our fake example bin, because it's stuff that I do show people so they can learn from them as well as we study them as well. And I told him, that I was going to make a YouTube video about these as well if he did decide to leave them. But as always, thanks for watching the video. I hope this helped you learn a little bit about what to watch out for on fake coins just by looking at this example of a fake quarter that looked pretty darn good at first glance. And if you did learn something, I would greatly appreciate a like. Also, if you want to see more content like this, where I do intend to make more videos about fake coins. I've actually had one I've worked on off and on for quite some time that I just haven't liked well enough to post yet. But regardless, if you like that kind of stuff, make sure to hit the subscribe and notifications buttons below so you'll be notified when I post new content like that. Thanks for watching the video, and be careful.